guys have both played some pretty awesome characters on screen in the past. How does playing a vampire hold up to those? How does it stack up?
I've always wanted to play a vampire. You know, I've played a bunch of bad guys, but I gave myself special dispensation for this. I just thought, well, I've never played a bad guy with teeth before, so it felt like I was being versatile. But no, I'd always wanted to, and a classic old-style vampire who's a bad guy, that was fun.
Yeah,
Just
I'm trying to think.
pause,
I'm sorry. I'm trying to think about it. Well, I'm trying to think about how I thought about it when I first read it, and
Sure.
whether I even considered the vampire aspect of it. Actually, for what I read was just a really cool character, and it just caused more complications and therefore more conflict in him as a person. So I didn't ever. I don't know. It was because
your character's a bit more dimensional than mine. Mine's pretty much a vampire from start to finish, whereas
yours is very dimensional. He's got loads of stuff going on.
Yeah, he's got some moral dilemmas that he's
I've got
kind
moral
of working
dilemmas,
with.
and
What drew you to that part of Sturgis's character?
Well, you meet him, and he's this elaborate kind of guy living this dark, weird existence in this incredible house, but it's just sort of dead inside. Like he's just living in madness and chaos and sex and and a drug addict equivalent, junkie today sort of thing. But he's also a dandy and kind of, it's just an exciting character. And I thought that, and yes, exactly, the moral dilemmas of actually he makes out that he's doing things for the good of mankind and for the future of the world, and actually you come to realise what he's doing is lying to everyone and himself, because all he wants to do is get at this guy who created such grief in his life. So it's revenge for him. He's playing. It's about revenge, and he says all this stuff about, discovering this boy and making him into a perfect hunter, because it's for the good. But it's actually a load of rubbish. He's lying.
Right. Vampires are so popular; they've officially ingrained themselves in the pop culture. How important was it for you both to kind of play these vampire roles with something new to it? There's something new to offer.
Well, I don't know. I think if you're trying to be original for originality's sake, that's that's a dangerous route to go, because you need to play the truth of the. I mean, I call it truth, but you need to play the intention of the writer, and that choice isn't whether you do the role or not. For me, I like the fact that he was a classic bad guy vampire, in the vein of the kind that I grew up watching. Because I grew up watching the Hammer horrors late at night on TV, and Christopher Lee and the Peter Cushing films. They were already very old when I was watching them, but those classic vampires were the ones that kind of ingrained in my imagination. And it was that. There'd been a spate of the kind of, teeny, kind of more romantic vampires. So it was nice for me to read one that was written to be like, straight down the line, I'm going to eat you kind of guy.
Can you talk a little bit about like the physicality to the roles, like what you guys had to do to prepare for the fight sequences, things like that? Or maybe is there training for biting necks? Is there a proper way to do that?
No, but there should be, shouldn't there? My first experience, our first experience, I got these fangs put in. I was very proud of them. Your first set of fangs is important for everyone, and they were incredibly sharp, really sharp, like kitten teeth, like they. But no one gave me the talk about how you go, but you don't actually. And
you should have really known not to actually bite.
But I didn't actually bite. I didn't actually. But I stopped. But my teeth were longer than I realised, and I actually did some damage. So it's my first day filming, acting with my old mate Dominic, and at the end of the scene there's this, and then one of my teeth is gone, and we find it embedded in his face.
So there should be training. There should be biting.
There should be training. I wasn't given it.
And saying that the word.
That was my introduction to Henry Sturgis.
And there are ways in which film. It's funny because you think you're being kind of cool and it's going to look great when you're doing it, and it can just look awful. So you look at playback and you go, that just looks like I'm just sort of. it just looks terrible. So it's a really specific way of making it kind of look.
Oh, with the actual biting.
Yeah. It was kind of.
You don't want to look like you're just kind of breathing on something.
No, exactly. Licking their neck.
Also, one of the problems is I found, like, for the first time I ever used a gun in a film, I'd spent so much time growing up making the old bang bang noises that I couldn't stop. you know, that you're going, and they say, Rufus, what's the problem? And they're shooting a real gun. By the same token, it's hard to not go when you're doing it, adding your own sound effects. In fact, I never stopped with that.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.